Good morning everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. I spent yesterday and a little bit of today clearing this bed, finally, moving all the rubbish that was along that fence out the way. It's all on that bed now, I'll show you that in a minute. So that I can move on with this. This bed tilts down this way and it also tilts down this way as well. So it's uneven and I'm on to site my polytunnel on here, and this is the rough outline of the tunnel with this back bed edge all the way down to the bottom down there. It's getting on for about 28 foot by 10 foot wide, so it'd be a decent sized tunnel. But I do want it on the level, because once the beds are in, I mean I could level the beds inside a tunnel that was sloping downhill, but you'd lose height at one end doing that, and I don't want to do that. So I figured as I'm setting it up, I may as well set it up properly, and then the beds inside can be level, and then watering is easier. It won't all drain down to one end, it won't roll downhill, which is no good to man the beast, because then you get dry areas and wet areas, which is no good for your plants. So starters are meant to go on and have everything done as much as you possibly can. So I now can take my time over this now, because I don't need this tunnel until the spring. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some plastic down the front of the plot which is in use at the minute. I will cover this and allow the ground underneath to drain away dry, making it easier to dig over and move the soil, because I'm going to take soil from this top area and up here and roll it down the hill just to level it off a little bit, and I'll get to a reasonable state where I've dug out there and put it there, and it should be relatively level. So that's what I'm aiming for, and then I'm starting the site nice and level. Down the front here, between here and the pathway there'll be a long cold frame. That's the intention. Whether that's done this next year or not, I don't know. I'd like it to be done next year because I can use it almost immediately, but that's what I want, is a nice long cold frame, and reasonably tall too. So yeah, that's the plan with that area. So we'll see how that goes. And in the tunnel straight away, once this is up, there's a fig tree. I've got some figs in there potted up. I want to put a fig in here straight away, and that will take over this one side of that tunnel growing up. It'll be trained and kept control of, like the grapevine is currently in the other tunnel there. So I've moved all that gear, it's all moved onto that bed. I'll show you that now, and then I'll show you where the plastic is that I intend to cover this area with and what I need to do to get that plastic. So this bed was covered the other day, and I've just stacked everything that was along this fence over there, everything out the way apart from a few bits and bobs up there. It's all out the way so that I can get at this bed and work on it. Also in here are some of the water barrels and rubbish that were down the front of the plot, and I'll show you where that's come from now and the area that's cleared and why I'm clearing that. So slow spin, Stephen. So I'll just walk off down here. Now you may remember from the other day when I was showing you around, this area was full of rubbish really, I suppose. Bits and bobs, odds and sods. Now this path continues down there, you can see that, and right on the right hand side of this path the next bed will start, and it's the same as the no dig raised beds I've already built, and they will be going in here. So there'll be one bed, small pathway, and then another bed. These compost heaps, they're coming out and they're being moved, and I'll show you where they're being moved to in a minute. So I'll build the first bed, I'll empty these heaps into the first bed, and then dismantle the heaps completely and put the second bed in. So that's nearly ready to start in here. I've just got to scrounge up a couple more scaffold boards and get them painted, and then I'm ready to go on that. So that's another option of another job I can start if I'm stopped doing something somewhere else. So again, it just gives me more options. Now over here at the front of the plot, here's the first set of raised beds, and it's exactly the same as that looks there, is going where those compost heaps are when they've been moved, in front of the tunnel, right next to that path. Be exactly the same as that. And just over the back you can see the first part of my composting system, the temporary ones, and the first couple of pallets will be taken out, and that tin compost area will go in there and up to where those 2 fruit trees are. Those are plum trees. They're the wrong variety I didn't want. They're a cooking plum, and they're coming out, and the compost heaps will go all the way up there. Now, the plastic I spoke about at the back of the plot is over this next set of no-dig raised beds, and that's keeping that dry because I still need to work the soil in there. I finished building them and then just chucked the plastic back over, and I've left them abandoned. Now the soil just needs digging over there and levelling. Again, for the same reason I said earlier, you want your watering to be even. You don't want things going downhill. You don't want the water going downhill. You want it to stay even across the whole soil surface so you can look after your plants better. So before I put cardboard down and put compost on top, I want the soil level in them. I want the paths all nice and level in between all of these beds. Then this plastic can be moved to the back of the plot and cover the next area to be dug over, which is the polytunnel area. So that's what I'll be starting to do tomorrow. I'll be working on this tomorrow, getting this all nice and level, and then putting the plastic down at the back of the plot. And then that's another thing done and underway. It was at this time last year that I helped a friend move a shed, and it was one of these fancy potting shed things, good tongue and groove construction, good heavy timber, and it had a glass front, and it's one of those ones with the sloping windows at the front, and you've got a little bay inside where you can put your seedlings down. Now we moved that, we broke it down into its component parts, but we moved the one with all the glass still in it, and I was at the drag end, and I did my back in doing it, and I was in absolute agony. And the end result was I trapped a nerve between your bones in your spine, something trapped inside there, and it shot all the way down my leg and left me with sciatica. And I was like that for, it was October last year, October, November, December, all the way through till March, and I can still feel it now. But now I just sort of take things easy, and that's what's led to me taking on jobs. I may have a big task to do, like clear that big bed at the back and put a polytunnel up, but I now break it down into little jobs as achievable, so that if the leg starts bothering or the back starts bothering, I can stop, but I've still managed to get something done. And that's how that scenario was borne out for me, and how I worked out how to still get things done but not be disappointed that I couldn't get things done. So that's where that's all born from, is from necessity. When you're a bit younger and a bit fitter, it's fine, you just crack on with it and you get it done in half an hour and you're wondering what to do after lunch. But I've got to face facts. I'm no longer a young spring chicken anymore. I can still crack on, I can still get work done, but I've just got to pace myself and watch when I'm doing it and how I'm doing it as well. But anyway, that's it for today. Look after yourselves, everyone. Please stay safe, and I'll see you in a day or two. Ta-ra now.